Kate, what's 111 plus 1?
112, Joel.
Because that's how many episodes we're up to on the Wheelhouse podcast.
We're trucking through. I'm impressed with us.
I've had a
Go
wardrobe
us.
change, okay, to mark the occasion.
Yes, you are dressed as a bandwagon.
Merckxy said that. So it came in. Merckxy said, how long have you got the bandwagon parked outside? And my answer to that is yes, Merckxy. I do. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, mate. Go those Lions, eh?
Roar.
Wow.
Roar.
I always loved them. Always.
Yeah, mate, day one. Day one, whatever year that was. Yeah, I was there in the cold, shivering. Yeah, all of that.
I won't even pretend I do. But the NRL finals are this weekend, so I've got something to cheer for. Not para, but...
You've got Western Sydney
We've
skin
got
in the game.
Western Sydney, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Are you
I'm not
papering over the
disappointed
fact that Sydney got pumped in the AFL Grand Final, or is that not...
Oh, didn't they come from Melbourne originally?
They did, yes.
I'll
South
just-
Melbourne, yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Nice pivot, nice
Thank you.
pirouette around that. Hey, look, we're here to talk about bikes because there has been a lot happening, and let's just can we just get right into it? Is he the GOAT?
Are we talking about Glutesy O'Connor?
Yeah, I'm talking about him. Who else would I be talking about? Who else could I
We'll
be
get
talking
there.
about?
What, Tadej, Pogačar, is he the GOAT? Yes. I mean, let me read you a quote. A GOAT quote.
A GOAT quote?
If you will. He is superior to me. This is my quote, by the way.
No.
Although that's obvious. It is obvious now that he is now above me. I already thought so a little deep down when I saw what he did on the last Tour de France. But tonight there is no doubt. Obviously we cannot compare eras, but here we are dealing with an incredible rider. I didn't attack 100 kilometres from the finish in a World Championship. What he achieved today is unimaginable. And that is from
Lance Armstrong.
the previous GOAT,
Yeah.
Eddy Merckx.
Wow.
But I'm pretty sure, Merckxy, didn't you say even Lance Armstrong was
Yeah,
pretty
he did.
complimentary?
I mean, Eddy Merckx did qualify that by saying he was referring to the World Championships. And he said he still has a very long way to go to be
He
the
did
GOAT.
not.
He did.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did. He's just come out and told TV that.
Oh, a subsequent interview.
Wow.
Absolutely,
Okay, there's an
yeah.
update to that.
Yeah.
That's
Nah.
fantastic. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I'm
As
all
long as
over
you
it.
don't
I'm all
exist.
over
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
sure.
it's interesting because when I read that, I thought, Eddie's,
Yeah.
he's humbled
That's a
down a little
concession
bit.
speech.
Yes,
100%,
I thought
yeah.
that is a very different Mr. Merckx
Yep.
that was talking on Cavendish's record-breaking or record-equaling feats.
Yeah, 100%. Look, he still slid in the old you can't compare eras.
I know, but
But-
that was it. That was the only.
Yeah.
But now he's just talking about that,
Yeah,
is he?
I've got it here. He said, I was referring to what he did at World Championships. On that particular course, it was incredible.
Oh, Eddie.
Eddie, I don't know. Okay,
Oh,
so the
Eddie.
full quote, he mentioned World Championships, but he also, he did mention GTs. He mentioned everything. He did.
Okay.
Unless I'm being gaslit by whatever article I was reading it in, because
Maybe he'd, had a few.
get him on the quick slide into his DMs,
No,
Merckxy.
Tom Bonen's my favourite, who says funny things when he's
Yeah.
on the spritz.
With legs like that, you can say what you want.
He says, it defies imagination. He creates chaos amongst the opposition. He has never been hunted in an organised manner. I don't think he really started with a plan. He just tried something and then he'll see. That was from Tom Bonen. Very complimentary.
Has any rider in history planned to attack from 100 kilometres out?
Now, the record is 93 kilometres.
Mm.
That was back in 1928 from
Mm-hmm.
memory. I don't know that was planned.
Well, there's
but-
been a few things around this whole this apparent shopping bag in the breeze nature of Pog, but I tend to think that being the Terminator he kind of knows exactly what he's
Well,
doing.
no, but he said, I didn't plan to go that early. It just felt right. But we knew for sure it would be a long-range attack.
Yeah.
We weren't sure if he could pull it off,
Yeah.
and we weren't sure what long meant. How long's a piece of string?
I'm glad you went
100
with that one
kilometres
because, I
is
thought I
the
was about to
piece
say,
of Joel. Move on.
hit the bleep button. Yep, sorry.
Well controlled, Merckxy. 100 kilometres is that piece of string in particular.
I don't know. I just still think, I had no idea that was going to happen. I don't know. I'm calling a little bit of, you know, don't you, to an extent? Surely, okay, I'm going to give you some benefit of the doubt to a couple of Ks. 95, 100, whatever, 105. But
no.
I don't know. I just tend to think if you know you're going long, you're preparing to go long, surely.
Yeah, but what's long? I mean, 50K is long.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I think the whole race for the Slovenian team and for Pogačar was a if this then that scenario planning. So you sit down beforehand and there's 20, 30 different possibilities. I mean, really, there's a lot more, but that you bother talking about.
Yeah.
And contingent on each bit, you then have a response.
Yep.
Rather than, because, if you think day to day, you might have one or two plans, and then if that doesn't work, you're like, then we'll figure it out. Going into this kind of race where he wants to win, I don't think there would have been we'll figure it out. I think he would have had an if this then that scenario.
Yeah, okay.
Every feasible winning move.
I have a question.
Yes.
If it wasn't planned, how did Jan Tratnik know when to drop back?
Thank you. That was my next thing.
He dropped back. How did he know? They don't have radios.
If this, then that.
If this, then what?
If, with coming up to 100K to go, there's a Slovenian in the break and Pogačar is not represented, that rider will drop back.
How many if this, then that's can you go into a race with?
A
It's a
lot.
serious question without muddling yourself.
If you are a strategic racer,
Yeah.
a huge amount, because it's a mental agility that is a skill, and that is a very big skill for Pogačar, being able to read races, have the foresight and the mental agility to do it. There's also a lot of riders who don't have that mental agility, but that's not even necessarily a bad thing. They're just different styles.
Yeah, sure.
But they will follow a plan to a T, where other riders might go, this isn't quite good, I'm not going to continue with it. They will just persevere, and often that will get them these epic wins when people say, that didn't seem right, or the conditions were terrible.
Okay.
But they're almost like a plug and play kind of rider. Pogačar's the opposite. He's very strategic, he's very smart, he's got a very committed and dedicated team. And I think that this was all class and then a heck of a lot of brawn, or as Remco would probably say, a
Big balls.
Good big bulls. Okay, Merckxy,
Big
are
set
you
of
buying
them.
it? What do you think?
Yeah, I guess. But geez, you got to shout out to Tratnik. He rode into the ground. He was incredible.
He did. He was. And he said at the end, because he got so much praise, not only from Pogačar but from everybody, but he said, I did my best, but it was him. But I think that underplays both his physical contribution, but I'm going to also say his emotional contribution, because if we go back to the if this then that scenario, Pogačar knows that he's going to be dropping back. That's a security blanket and a confidence and a calm for a race leader, for a team leader, to know that the team will be there when he needs them, and he was. And so I think in that regard he contributed more to the win than simply the physical effort of getting him out of the wind for a bit.
Yeah, okay, all right. It is beyond extraordinary achievement. I do have another question. 100 kilometres is a long way, as we're going to find out here on the Wheelhouse podcast in no time at all.
Just over a week, Joel.
Yeah, I got a flat tyre. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Why couldn't anyone else? Why, Kate? Why couldn't anyone catch him? What's happening? Did they have flat tyres?
Why couldn't anyone catch him?
Were they walking?
I'm going to reword that. Why didn't
they catch him much better?
Yeah, I think they could have, but I think that the 100 kilometres, the nature with which he just throws it out there and discombobulates everybody else's plans, I think that contributed to the fact that they didn't catch him. They were disorganised. When they got organised, it was too late. They underestimated him, which is beyond me how they can do that now, but they do. They continue to underestimate him. I think also race radios plays into it because they don't communicate nearly as well, and if they're not as organised as the Slovenian team, then radios are much more important. And you might look at a team like Belgium and say, wow, they're as organised. But what you have in teams like Belgium, and we'll talk about this with the women's in a minute in relation to the Netherlands, but teams like Belgium, they're also on different pro teams. They also have different big goals. It is never quite as united a team, and you often read about that afterwards. You know, how, did they really work together as well as they could? So there's that element to it. But I think on top of that, if you just look at the way the whole race played out and they're underestimating him, they're not communicating very well, they're not working that well together, and you contrast that with what we see from Slovenia, I think that's why.
Okay, so just I really like this if this, then that thing. Makes sense. Is he at a level where other teams need to have a Pog specific if this, then that? Because they clearly didn't in this case. And as you say, they continue to underestimate him, but we've seen long breaks before. I know 100K is completely crazy, but we've seen long attacks. It was coming one way or another, but they didn't seem to have any scramble, this is happening, let's act.
It's a really interesting one because in many ways in these team discussions, the phrase that comes to mind is you've got to paddle your own canoe. Mm-hmm. You can't ride for how somebody else may or may not ride. Generally, that holds true. But actually, when you're looking at a race like this and you're looking at a phenom like Pogačar, I think that you are naive if you don't. And Van der Poel all but said it. When he went with 100K, he thought, this is crazy.
He can't possibly
sustain it.
Right.
Which says to me that the Dutch team didn't have a scenario in place for if he went with 100K, because if you did, you'd send someone with him or you'd do more, even if you thought it was crazy, even if you thought it was unlikely, that would not be something that you let go.
That's nuts.
Well, Remco said the same. He said it was a crazy move and he didn't think anyone could sustain it at 100Ks. But Tadej made it work.
Well,
Okay.
and Tadej made it work because he had Tratnik, because he had Sivakov, because he had groups, people along the way. So it wasn't 100K solo, and that is a big difference. But again, strategically, they've gone, if I can do this, then I can do this, and so on and so forth.
Sorry, Merckxy,
No,
please.
I was just saying, 100Ks though, they never got closer than 30 seconds, but they couldn't close it. Like it's.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
that's the
mind-numbing.
ridiculous thing. 30 seconds is not a big gap.
No, I know that's what I mean.
So,
You'd
and-
think any peloton could close that down over 100 kilometres.
Well, that's why I think it's didn't, not couldn't.
Yeah, okay. Tratnik, okay, the work of
Couldn't
Tratnik.
in that scenario,
Yeah.
but not couldn't because he's so physically dominant that he can just ride away from all of the chasing pack. Because I think that's important to differentiate, because we're not talking about a performance like Floyd Landis when he won, clearly enhanced at the Tour de France. And if you watched it, there was nobody on the same universe as him. That's not how Pogačar's winning. He's winning because he's gutsy and ballsy and brawny,
He does
and it's
things
fantastic.
that they do expect, but they can't fathom.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They were caught with their pants down. Later on, we'll talk about what happened in the race. Now, on Tratnik, is that the best, as far as a non-medal effort goes, is that one of the best you've seen, one where world cycling's like, this guy, we want him. Is that a stock lifter for him?
Oh, I think so.
It
but
has to be, doesn't it?
He has got an exceptional reputation. He's done amazing things for Roglic's career.
Yeah.
So the Slovenian bond is very strong there. So I think that it just solidifies his reputation.
Even further. Is he ever sitting there going, first Primoz, now this guy?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that's what the great temperament of probably, 20% of the peloton, I'll put it at 20%, is that they love racing, they love being good at what they do, they love being part of the team cause, and they don't drift out. That really satisfies them. And that's such a beautiful thing, to be able to just be really satisfied with this beautiful environment and not constantly seeking more, because that's exhausting.
Yeah, fair enough.
It is. And winners have that,
Yeah.
but it is exhausting.
Well, Tour, Giro, Worlds, the arguments are hard to counter, to be honest, as far as anyone's saying that he's not that. Even the backflipping Merckxy, I'm going to go with his first comments that said that, look, this guy's great. Not the later ones that said, no, I didn't say that.
I love that in our show prep,
Yeah.
Merckxy kind of hid that one from me.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
I love
here.
that.
No. To clarify, I only just stumbled upon it. I researched right up until we hit record.
No, it wasn't you. It was our team of researchers,
It was.
Merckxy.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're very good.
Yeah, the Department of Research.
The
yeah.
department.
But you know what? That's what I mean. This is why this is a great podcast, because you're finding stuff out for the first time, and so are we, and that's fantastic. Now,
And
you
if
said-
our listeners are on the journey with us,
yeah, damn right.
come
You said-
along for the ride.
30 seconds isn't much.
No.
It's not. 34 seconds equally is not that much.
No.
So can we please talk about Glutesy? Can I just qualifying question? Are we back on board with Glutesy? Is Glutesy okay?
Oh, we were never off board. Yes, we're back on board. We love Glutesy.
Well, we weren't off board? Look, Merckxy, we
No.
weren't off board? With,
No.
Mate, I tried to get him a statue. I even
We're
designed
still-
it for Basil's and
Yes,
Parlous.
We
yes.
did, but then Netflix happened.
Netflix happened. No.
Yeah,
My comments on Netflix then, and you pair.
Muttering.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I want to quantify this with why I'm so thrilled for his performance.
Incredible, yeah.
More thrilled, I'll say, and then explain it,
Okay.
than if it was Michael Matthews.
Oh, okay, please.
Because Michael Matthews, you kind of expect it because he's done it before. He's always so close. We know he's capable of it. I will honestly say I did not think Ben O'Connor was going to get a medal and be on a podium in between Pogačar and Matthew Van Der Poel in
Yeah.
a one-day World Road Race Championship on this course.
Okay, fair.
It is not lumpy enough for what I thought Ben O'Connor was, specialised at the moment, nor did I necessarily think that he had the emotional attributes to do it at this point in his career. I don't mind being wrong. What he did was phenomenal. What it shows about his resilience to be able to cop everything through Netflix, all the commentary around that, including from us, because, we're cycling commentators, so we do talk about all these hot topics. He has been absolutely slammed. He has been analysed upside down. It would not be unusual or particularly negative if he needed to take a bit of a step back from it and regroup with a new team next year, as he is doing.
Yeah.
But he hasn't. He has taken it on board and he's really turned his vulnerabilities into strength and a real self-awareness, and it's lifted him another level.
Yep.
What he did at the Vuelta, what he did at Worlds, I mean, that photo, podium photo.
Yeah.
Remembering last week we were talking about how good it was to see Phil Anderson's, little home hall of fame and his ponytail and
Yeah.
some of the things you're looking at, you're like, wow, what a moment in history. What a moment in history
Yeah.
for Glutesy to be part of.
Hugely. And,
Wow.
and to be fair, Zurich gifted us with a number of wonderful Kodak moments featuring Australians, which was spine-tingling stuff. But what an effort. And like you say,
Yeah.
he didn't ride. He was like, no, I'm doing my own thing. I know what I can do. I'm going to back myself. That guy's ridiculous. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
But I mean, what was even more, the most remarkable thing about his ride was, I kind of jokingly wrote on the rundown, can we call him a sprinter now? No, we can't. But is that he knows, he's gotten to the point where he's really aware of what he does and what he does really well and puts himself in that position to exploit that, and he did. You don't want to come into a sprint finish against Matthew Van Der Poel. Nobody does in this kind of race. So he didn't. He waited until they'd attacked each other, to a point where they were all looking around at each other, and he took his opportunity. And they didn't let him go so much as they couldn't react in the moment.
Couldn't react. Yeah.
Because they were all spent, because it was the end of a very long and hard race. They'd all been chasing, but he'd obviously been thinking about it for a while. How do I get myself on the podium when this is the group? Boom.
It's nuts.
It was bloody brilliant, I've got to say. Like, I just love it. And I just think he's a remarkable athlete to turn it around like that.
Statue? Are we back on the campaign?
Yeah, we're back on the statue.
Yep, okay.
Right? Merckxy?
Yeah, no, we'll
Yeah,
definitely
get on to Baz.
get a statue.
All right.
Okay, we'll get the statue pitching department onto that as well.
Yeah.
He comes back to Brissy too on holidays, so we might get him in the studio.
Well, we're going to slide into it. Can you slide
Well,
into
I have.
his DMs?
We've messaged, me and him.
Excellent.
But about,
Besties.
can you
About
just
coming
change the
in.
subject to
Yeah.
coming into the studio?
Yeah, and I've got to get a plaster mould of him.
Oh, good. Okay.
That's
Like
what
a preview.
That's what you've been working on out
That's
back.
what he's been doing.
I
Yeah, that's all
wondered
the
what
dust.
that was. Okay, that's great. Okay, fantastic. Does anything detract from this, from Pog's point of view, from O'Connor's, the likes of Jonas not being at their
No.
absolute tip-top, whatever.
Ugh.
There's nothing that takes away from it in your view?
No, I mean, it's the same way that I would say I was surprised O'Connor would get that result in that race.
Yeah.
I would not foresee that Jonas would be in that position in a world championship either.
Fair enough. Okay.
And so no, it doesn't take away. The only other kind of interesting thing that happened before we move on to the women was Matthew van der Poel today, actually. They're trying to either fine him or take his medal off him. Isn't that right, Merckxy?
Yeah, should he even been on that podium with Ben O'Connor, Kate?
Yes, he should have.
Oh, well, rules are rules.
So the kerfuffle is there's a letter. I'm not expecting you to read it, but I am holding it up to the camera here. And it is from the Latvian Cycling Federation. And they've written to the UCI.
Ooh, okay.
And they are not happy. They are saying, to phrase, we wish to draw your attention to a potentially dangerous race situation and the fact that the video of this moment is circulating on social media, showing a very dangerous move by Matthew van der Poel during the Elite World Championship in Zurich. Now, what he's done is he's gone up on a footpath.
Well, they played it live too, and then they replayed it. So it was clear as
there.
day.
Yeah,
It was
for sure.
right in the centre of the frame.
And you're not
Illegal.
allowed to do
You can't do it.
You can't do it. You
Dangerous.
can't do it, dangerous to spectators. It kind of evolved through races like, the Cobble Classics, Paris-Roubaix, when there's a smooth footpath and people would advance up there rather than being on the cobbles. That's not really fair either. So I understand the rule, and I think he absolutely should have been fined, because otherwise what's the point of even having the regulation there?
Well, we've seen examples in recent history. So when you got to have consistency with those kind of rulings, surely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
This isn't the NRL.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah.
You have to have consistency, but there's now people, including, the Latvian Federation, their fellow got fourth, calling for him to be scrubbed. Come on now.
I don't think I don't think it's a medal costing situation, is it?
No.
Wow.
Look, I think you have to differentiate between, rules. There have to be penalties, and they have to be severe enough
You could fine him.
and fine, they make a lot of money. Maybe that's not it. Maybe UCI points hurts more.
I was going to say dock some points for next.
But there's something. But disqualifying, if you didn't do something that improved, that changed the outcome of the race, I don't think it's the commissaire's job to scrub through the footage in fine comb to try and scrub
It
people.
did possibly change the outcome of the race.
Oh, how?
Well, if he didn't jump up on the footpath, maybe he would have crashed. I don't know, but people have been disqualified for those moves in the last 5 years.
It's a bit too long ago. And I don't disagree
Well,
with your theory.
if that was some, top 500 rider, I reckon they would have got disqualified.
Yeah, okay. So if it wasn't one of the big guns.
I don't think he should have been disqualified, but I'm 100% on consistency of the application of rules.
Okay. Well, you're going in with the Djokovic and Nadal theory, Merckxy, that when you reach a certain echelon, you're untouchable by the brass.
Yeah, I'm listening to Robbie McEwen, who said on the broadcast on Eurosport, you cannot do that.
Well, you can't.
It's illegal.
You
can't do it.
You can't do
he
it,
did it,
and it is legal.
And nothing happened.
Yes, so there needs to be a punishment, but I don't think that needs to be disqualified.
Okay. Well, he was what, 20 something seconds behind Benny. How far was fifth behind him?
Oh, not a big margin.
Like a bunny hop margin?
Yeah.
A bunny hop and a jump off a pavement. If I didn't do that, I could have got him margin?
Oh, yeah, but it didn't happen in the final sprint. So that's not, apples and apples.
But that's if you're going to talk disqualification, maybe it needs to be. If you know what I mean? If they're going to get that forensic about it, that's kind of what they need to. Otherwise, why are you calling for disqualification? How is it changing anything?
I mean, they've disqualified people for littering, for goodness sake.
Yeah, and I don't think I think there needs to be a real disincentive that isn't disqualification. And it may be this yellow card system is perfect, because then you get your warnings. And there's some things that are immediate expulsion, but there should be a host of things that are warnings. Mm-hmm. And once you get your host of warnings, you're done. And that carries through the season. So that is an incentive to look at the little rules and behave better.
I tell you what he should be fined for. He should be fined for his mullet. He's got a mullet now.
Oh,
My
he
God.
looks like a bit of like an NRL player, to be honest. They're the haircuts that make me feel old. They really
The mullet has roared back into the winter codes in the eastern
Yes.
seaboard, that's for sure.
It's when the 12-year-old at home is like, no, that's cool. I'm like, oh.
No, you're not. You're not.
Oh.
You're not. That's not. I'm saying that to the 12-year-olds. No, you're just
No.
not. I have nothing to do with any of you, but you're not. Okay. Well, look, it is what it is. I think I like the 3 strikes. Like yellow cards. Geez, you're going to be on your best behaviour when you're on your last strike. That kind of thing isn't bad. As far as littering fines go, I just want to double check, Merckxy. Are we talking about the litter that you throw when you eat a muesli bar, or are we talking about nature break litter?
No.
'Cause that's a disqualification.
It's not kitty litter.
No.
It's not. No. Okay.
Litter, like gel wrappers and...
Yes.
Oh, okay. Not poo.
No.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to qualify that.
No.
Thank you.
That
No,
was
that's all right.
last year, Matthew van der Poel.
You can see why I needed to check that.
Yeah,
because
yes,
look, we're
yes.
really subtle on the wheelhouse, and sometimes it just goes over my head.
Oh, we miss you when you're not here, Joel.
That's all right. No,
Don't
it's
we,
okay.
Merckxy?
Okay. Let's talk about.
poo joke.
Let's move from poo to the women, because
Oh.
that was all.
What a natural segue.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
It was a lot less stinky. They were amazing. Lotte Kopecky overcoming so much adversity, Catherine. Now, your words talking about Benny gave me goosies. You're in Olympic form with that. I'm just going to turn my mic off and sit back and observe and enjoy your take on the work of Kopecky.
So much. I have a little girl crush on Lotte Kopecky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's just first and foremost a wonderful human being. When she finished the race, the very first thing she did was pay tribute to Muriel Fura, who very tragically lost her life at the championships.
Yeah.
That gives me goosebumps. Just beyond devastating. It had really an impactful effect on all of the athletes across the board. But the women's peloton felt it more. They knew her. They were welcoming her into the elite ranks. It was tough. It says a lot about her that the first thing she said, as second time winning the world title on the trot, was mentioning that.
Yeah.
I thought that was beautiful.
That's classy, isn't it?
And, sending thoughts and love to the friends and family. I thought that was beautiful. The way she raced was just classy. You had these days on the bike that I can only describe as you feel like you're riding along in a bubble, and it actually doesn't matter what you do, it's going to work. And then you have other days where you can do everything right and everything just goes to shit. And, I've had days like that where I've fallen off 4 or 5 times in a race, and each time you're like, I don't even know how that happened. And then you have other days where you skid around 7 corners and somehow don't fall down.
Yeah, yeah.
Watching her in that race, I feel like in the first 500 metres, she would have had a little smile and been like, woohoo, this is a good one.
Yeah, okay.
Because she just didn't put a foot wrong.
Yeah.
She looked comfortable. She had the great support of her teammate who was in the break all day. It didn't faze her. It didn't panic her, in very strong contrast to what was going on in the Dutch team and in a lot of other teams. But if she was freaking out, it was like a duck. It was all underwater.
Sure.
She just looked comfortable, calculated, and she did what she does best.
Yep, yep.
I love watching that, watching them race with this calm and confidence. And she did talk about that afterwards, insofar as there wasn't a sense of, I can't believe this has happened. There was a real, I'm thrilled, I'm proud, everything went right. But there wasn't a, wow,
Yeah.
what?
There was genuine belief leading into the race.
There was
She
genuine
yeah,
belief.
yeah.
And, I think that was fortified through the race because of the way some of the other teams were racing. And what we're looking at is just one of the most versatile female riders we've ever seen. Well, riders, but I compare her to, the lady goat in Marianne Vos.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's huge.
Really similar
Yep.
pedigrees in terms of winning on the track, winning on the road.
Yeah.
Just being able to evolve each season and play her role as a worker as she did for a long time, but now really step up when she needs to, and she can do it.
And that weather It was
Ugh.
horrendous. So cold, wet, slippery.
Why do the women? Honestly, the women's peloton cop these horrendous conditions all the time.
It was-
what is going on?
Well, Merckxy and I were watching, and we were actually feeling quite sorry for the organisers.
Yeah.
For Zurich.
Yes, because,
Poor
I mean,
Zurich.
when I was on the organising committee for Wollongong, we spent an inordinate amount of time when looking at the course, looking at then what the shots would be and what for tourism,
Yeah, of
what
course.
people would be seeing, what we would be showcasing. And, you know, Mount Kira, how beautiful, but the Sea Bridge, how beautiful, all of these things.
Win Stadium.
Win
What's
Stadium.
it going to
Steelers
look like
Leagues
in
Club.
the Steelers? Exactly.
The master builders.
But, oh my gosh, you fair. But seriously, Zurich, like, wow, what a beautiful city.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a beautiful surrounding.
Yeah.
You didn't see any of that in the women's race. At one point, they like panned up from the helicopter to a mountain,
Yeah.
and they were trying to get a shot of something. After about 5 seconds, a little tiny like light from a tower. That was it.
And that was the glimpse.
And that was the beauty shot. Contrast that with the next day where you saw the beautiful, you know, mountain ranges in the background and the lake and everybody enjoying, and it was very different. And we did think, oh, bummer, but also very tough for the women. And again, considering what had happened earlier in the championships, then that makes a technical course scarier.
And that makes Lotte Kopecky's resilience even more impressive. Not just to be able to prevail and stick it out and still ride your best in those conditions, but to enter that race with the belief and then to recognise that things are actually going well and to maintain and enhance that belief. She does it better than anyone.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that, like in those conditions, it just adds a completely new context to that whole thing. It's obscene.
I was getting like the nervous shivers. Merckxy and I were watching it. Merckxy, very randomly, but very big fan of zebra crossings.
Yeah.
Like we'll be wandering around Brisbane and he'll be like, they really should have a zebra crossing here.
Oh, that's civically responsible.
It is, and he's right.
Yeah.
I think somebody is like-minded in Zurich. Never seen so many zebra crossings.
Good.
in your
Pedestrian
life.
friendly. I tell you what, I have a question.
Except they're slippery lines in the rain. That's why I pointed out.
They are.
Sorry, Merckxy.
No, I have a serious. What the actual F word is up with the Dutch women's cycling team?
Ooh.
Seriously.
Okay. Can of
Well-
worms time.
Well,
They really fuddled it up.
Yeah. What's
They
your take?
have won 5 out of the last 8. They weren't even on the podium.
They weren't even the podium, but they're
First
often
time
on
in
the
a
podium.
decade.
Yeah.
First time in a decade they're not on the
Wow.
podium.
What happened?
Oof.
I expected to come in today and be talking about Lotte, but also to be talking about Demi.
There's a lot of like
There
about
is.
Lotte.
But we're not. We're talking about Demi for
It was
other reasons.
a demolition and not in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think too many cooks in the kitchen.
Okay.
But I also think that if we hark back nearly 2 years to the Strade Bianchi moment with Lotte Kopecky and Demi Vollering, where they thought Lotte won, but actually they gave it to Demi, but Demi thought it was Lotte, and she got the shits.
Yeah, wasn't happy. Yeah.
No, and she swore, and if you can speak Dutch or translate Dutch, you could understand it was really unsavoury language.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden she did win and she was all...
Oh my God.
And that was a PR nightmare for them. They had
Yeah.
to clear that up because
Yep.
essentially Vollering's attitude at the time was, Kopecky's new to the team, I'm more senior, I am the one, when we come down to the line with 2 of us, I'm the one that wins. Almost how dare she even sprint me, you know. And at the time I was like, oh, this is not going to go well. But I think it shows a bit about Vollering's character. What I will say is Vollering is a champion for a reason, but she rides alone in many ways. She has a team around her, but there's a lot of moments when push comes to shove where Demi does consider others, but not before she considers herself.
Herself, okay.
To be a successful athlete, there's a lot of athletes like that. I mean, that's why there's a lot of individual sports.
You
So
have,
it's
you have
not-
to be selfish, they say that. For
Exactly.
Sure.
You can't necessarily couch it as a criticism, but you can certainly couch it as a very clear explanation as to why the Dutch team were not successful, because you have a certain cohort in there who are exceptionally team-minded, and Marianne Vos is one of those. Then you have some riders like Vollering who are not, in my view, as team-minded. And that didn't work. They were chasing each other. They did not have... And you can couch some of that behind saying, oh, there weren't radios, they didn't know. I call BS on that. You do know. Like, you might not know for a little bit, but you should... There's no excuse for not understanding if a teammate's up the road. I said that to Merckxy at the time. I said you can't, because the commentators were saying, oh, they don't have radios. Maybe she doesn't realise she's got a teammate up there. And I was like, no, they're professional athletes who damn well should know if there's a teammate up the road without being told on the radio. And so I think any explanation that has been given to why they were so discombobulated, frankly, just goes to a bit of a divided team with a divided focus.
Could it also be that they didn't want to ride for Demi?
That's with everything around her and some of the examples you've mentioned. Is there a bit of
but yes, absolutely. But I think riders like Vos, even if she didn't want to ride for Demi, if that was the best opportunity for them to win a medal, she would do it. And Vos did a great job where she was told to. I think it was ultimately Vollering as the leader on the road didn't make the right calls and made her own choices, and it cost them very dearly.
Okay. What does it do to the proud legacy?
Well, what it should do is change the selection focus. And look, Australia's been through this in past years too, and they're very hard conversations, but essentially it is, are you prepared to ride for somebody else, even if you think it should be you? And if the answer is no, then you just have no place in the team. But you can only do that with a really strong unit and a really strong group of athletes where you don't think there's only one option.
Okay, yeah.
But the Dutch, they literally do not just have one. They have so many options in every race.
Well, we had a Trident, but we realised a long time ago that it needed to become at least a rake, at the very least.
Well, and I think they're the team who could really lead the way in showing how you sacrifice your own chances.
But a team of individuals, that's not just a cycling thing.
No.
A team is always going to do better than a team made up of people riding for themselves. I think Merckxy hit a nerve point there really well, because the hysterics and the blaming and the shunting of teammates that we've seen maybe has them internally, not talking about this with team officials by any stretch, but just a little after dinner, hey, are we going to with Demi tomorrow? Yeah, we're going to. Don't tell anyone.
I mean, they look stupid, really.
Well, it's not doing any of them any favours.
Said with all due respect to some very classy, savvy, and nice.
But that's why it's frustrating. They should be. They have the talent. They have the personnel to be so much better. So,
well, even the Dutch team manager said, and I quote, Vollering rode an unwise final, isolating herself with her efforts and playing into the hands of her rivals. I mean, that's the team manager.
So the manager's saying that as well. So maybe the manager was in on the post-dinner conspiracy as well.
Okay, so I heard a story about a team's pursuit where one of the riders, the conversation with the ride group was, if we all lift, we can get a really good result. Okay. And one of the riders said to the other riders, in fairness, you need to lift, not me. I could win it on my own. And the coach was like, well, except that it's a team event, so technically you can't. But it just goes to show...
We've been through this, Ben. Yeah. No, kidding.
Yeah. Is this the American track team?
It just goes to show that there are different attitudes.
Yeah.
And different values. And so I think... to use that example, Demi, in my view, thinks that she's physically superior and doesn't need help in some situations. And that's because, she's pretty physically superior.
She's
it's not unfounded.
Yeah.
But the level has lifted. There is a huge amount of incredible competition, and it is a bit ignorant to think that you don't need that. And that is how she rode. She rode unwisely, like she was better and didn't need to be as smart.
But also... Did you see who got second in the women's road race?
second in the women's road race. Yeah, who, Merckxy?
You know who got that?
Yeah, Chloe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, just interesting.
She is an exceptional bike rider.
You heard it here first.
Yep.
A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, well, we talked about...
Oh, that was a surprise.
And the American team, we've talked about this often on the road, often don't work very well together, but often get results because they're animals. But you do wonder if they were a stronger team unit, what they could do.
I just feel like it'd be infuriating for managers, coaches, because let's just, at the end of the day, you're riding for your country. Like pride in the jumper as well.
But that doesn't mean the same to everyone. Like I have such enormous, immense pride in my jumper. For me, that came above everything. But not everybody does.
Question to you, and you're better qualified than anyone to ask this because you were there. It seemed to me, and I know that this is the track or whatever, that it very much existed in the Paris Velodrome. How does that disappear?
Are we talking about a specific country or just in general?
I felt in general, but I was watching.
Yeah,
at 4
well, but
AM,
you say that and then you listen to the interviews from the post race.
Yeah,
Matty Richo. Couldn't have done this without everybody.
Yeah.
Neck minute.
True.
Except that they're not good enough for the next part of my career, and I'm out of here. So I think it does mean something different for everyone, and when you can align that. Bellissimo. That's magic.
Matty Richo is a good example, but I do think that there was more to him jumping ship.
Sure.
For sure.
Yes, but I guess my point being a lot of people don't put national pride at the top when representing their nation.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think that's a shame.
Kalen Ponga, Joel?
Yes, I was going to say, yeah.
If we're going for footy.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Ponga, yeah.
Yeah, off air we can have a conversation about that. I don't want to get sued.
Pride in the jumper was on in abundant display for the Aussie women. Let's talk about some of the talents on display because we've mentioned a number of these names. Let's start with Bradbury because Neve, I'm not going to say you heard it here first because you heard it everywhere because everyone knows that she's something special, but you definitely heard it here. Yeah, and you can go through our back catalogue to check. It's there.
Yes, you legitimately can. No bandwagon here. No, unlike Brisbane Lions. Neve Bradbury was second in the under-23 women's. But Western Sydney, thank you. But she was phenomenal in the way she rode with so much control and so much class. I would say that when she finesses her strategic insight into racing, and you can't when you're that young and you haven't had the race experience, but when she finesses that a little bit, she will be very difficult to beat in tours, in one-day races on the right course for her. She's just all class, naturally reads a race really well, is very eager and keen. She's got a bit of the Pogačar enthusiasm, which is an absolute attribute, can bite you in the bum sometimes. And we're just watching a star rise. It's so impressive. But I had to have a giggle because on the podium, and by the way, they have their own under-23 race next year, standalone, which is brilliant. But on the podium, and it was freezing as we've discussed, it looked as though one of her far larger sized teammates had lent her the jacket.
Okay, yeah.
And so she actually looked like an under-15 because she had this giant jacket on and she was freezing and she just looked like such a young, fresh face.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool because you're like, holy moly, she is at the forefront of world cycling.
The next phase, the next gen.
So impressive.
Yeah. She's in there somewhere.
Yeah, we'll send her a small jersey.
Yeah. Okay. Ruby, we speak a lot about her work as well.
Ruby.
Oh,
She got sixth, but
not bad. Top 10's good.
Well,
I like top 10.
She would have been on the podium if it was 2 years later. It's just a very long day on a very hard course for a young rider.
So she slipped a little bit away.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the finish, she didn't quite have her trademark distinctive speed because she was fried, but she just hasn't had the years in the pro peloton yet. That's why it doesn't have the kilometres in the legs yet.
We taught the Dutch a lesson, though, when it comes to a bit of team harmony, dynamics, gelling and whatnot.
Oh, yes, and look, speaking of team harmony, Brodie Chapman one of the legends that
BC.
won a gold medal in the mixed teams relay. She is off to the UAE, leaving Lidl Trek. Good luck to her.
Good luck to her.
Yeah.
Another transfer update coming at you.
Yeah,
Now,
Mum Bernadette at Mount Glorious.
Does that mean it's our most successful Worlds at Road Worlds?
It is.
I think it is.
Yep.
Grace Brown.
Yeah. 2
Grace-
gold medals, including Gracie.
Yeah. Team relay.
Most
Yep.
epic hat tip.
Great hat tip.
Best retirement ever.
Is it? I put peek behind the curtain. I thought, as far as Australian sporting swan songs go, where does it rate?
I put
that in the group chat and no one got back to me, but I'm putting it into the show anyway.
We
I'm
haven't
going
even
rogue.
remotely ever had a road athlete
Yeah.
win an Olympic gold medal and 2 world titles in 1 year.
That has not happened.
Like mind blown.
I'm
I mean,
almost-
we haven't actually had it happen in separate years, let alone in one season.
Yeah. I'm
So-
almost going across sport here for her finale. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Some
It's
players
just-
win a title, win a couple of majors, whatever. Not majors, win a couple of tournaments. She's just been extraordinary.
No.
It's
She
it's
has
right
been
up
extraordinary.
there.
And it was an extraordinary, I was about to say carnival, event
Yeah.
for the Aussie team.
Yeah.
Like it's really, finally, it feels like it's been a bit of a slog. And we've been talking for many years about how everybody has the potential, but they haven't quite been getting there. I think we're starting to really feel the rush. What is it? Tour Down Under time? Really feel that momentum catching up. And it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
It is excellent. So that is it. Zurich, out of control. Beautiful pictures, especially the women's road race.
Goodbye, Zurich.
Yeah, great place to visit. We're not going there anymore.
No, we're done.
Gravel Worlds coming up as well, Catherine. The action very much just does not stop. Now, we've been talking about
Doesn't stop.
some exciting gravel potential, but let's just start on some absences, because there's a name you haven't been able to mention this week yet, and I can tell you're getting a little bit antsy. So who's not riding in the gravels, Kate?
The best hair in the peloton.
Merckxy, he told you he didn't want to bring that,
Well,
make
no,
that public.
Merckxy can't race on Sunday because it's his birthday.
Wee-hee.
Happy birthday, Merckxy. Yes.
Happy birthday.
And we are going on an adventure ourselves. I can't tell you what because he doesn't know and I don't want to ruin it. But
Fantastic.
we might not even be watching it. We might be too busy. But yes, Wout van Aert's out. Cassia Nieuwendomme, she's also not riding. She's the reigning world champion.
Yep.
But it is, I don't know, I feel like people are going to gravel as the fun option. They've got the skills, they've got the fitness, and gravel gives them an opportunity to just have fun racing their bikes.
Great. Got a chance to chill out. In the case of Lotte, a chance to wind down.
Oh, but see,
Yep.
if you're Lotte Kopecky and you've got all this pressure on you throughout the season, why wouldn't you ride Gravel World and have fun? Because if she wins, people will be like, oh my gosh. If she doesn't win, nobody will care at all.
No.
That's a good point. She probably will, though.
Oh.
She's never ridden a gravel race.
Yeah.
Yes, but
And she might win another rainbow jersey. You
Yeah,
know who
can you imagine?
I'm looking out for? Tiff Cromwell.
Tiffy.
She's in good form on
Friend
the
of
gravel.
the show.
the Australian women's team is so stacked.
Stacked.
Like with talent. We've got 2 of our Olympians in Cromwell and Sarah Gigante. Brianna Samuel, she was on the team for...
Sorry, just look a bit cold.
I've just had a Brisbane Lions scarf put on me. Thank you.
That's all right. Just a little bit chilly.
It smells like... Anyway,
Toothpaste.
Courtney Sherwell, who's our national champion. Nicole Frame, former Aussie road champion.
Yep.
Like, to have that incredible team
Yeah.
led by Neve Bradbury. I'm sorry. Hello. What an incredible team of athletes. And again, I think they're going to have more fun than in any other race they do.
And the 9 brave men led by none other than our Freddie as well.
Freddie Ovett, I know.
Our little Freddie.
Yes.
Love
Well,
that.
look, if you aren't familiar with all of Freddie's exploits, former road pro, but he's been esports on the podium at World Championships, incredible athlete. But he trains and makes lots of social content with Remco
Okay.
and Maddie Vanderpoo.
Pizza Hut ads and whatnot.
So there you go. Yeah.
yeah, great.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if that's Freddie's day job, but he's a good chance. He'll do pretty well.
Great. Well,
But-
I've been I've always loved the Terminator that is Mohoric as well, Matej Mohoric. And
Leading champion.
Yeah,
He
coming
always
in,
just
but-
gives the good interviews.
really good interviews, but also quite the motor, but a few little niggles and whatnot getting in the way as well. So who do you like? Do you like the poo?
I think that Mathieu van der Poel could well make up for what wasn't to be in Zurich.
Okay.
At Gravel Worlds. It's in Belgium. I mean, actually, it might be in the Netherlands.
Confirming Belgium.
Confirming. There you go, Belgium. And so it's close to home. It's just a drive, not a big deal.
He won't drive it though. He'll ride
What do you
it,
think?
surely.
He'll get chauffeured there?
No, he'll ride. Warm up.
It's
380 kilometres away.
It's a cool sport. It's a growing sport. I love it. I'm all here for it.
Okay, fantastic.
Guys, sorry, I've just got some stuff right here, an email from BikeBug.
Okay, great.
Yes.
They are selling Pog's bike that he won Worlds on. You can buy it.
That is so good.
You can buy the Colnago with all the fancy paint that Pog rode at Road Worlds.
How much? What are they asking?
Hang on. Let me...
What are they asking?
Oh, shit. It's $29,000.
Do they take Afterpay?
Oh, my God.
Asking for a friend?
It is so pretty, though. But there you go.
Look,
they just sent that through.
Well, there you go.
You can buy it at bikebug.com.
Well done to BikeBug and jumping on that opportunity, because I did remark when...
Here's a photo of it.
Oh, look at it.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's got the pink of the Giro, yellow, see on the Tour, and then there's a bit of rainbow in there.
I feel like 29's not a bad price. I was going to say, I'll raise some funds and throw in 1,000, and maybe if you just sit out next week's episode and skip one pay, we could
make the rest. You reckon?
that'll
Fund
make
the
it.
rest. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you reckon?
Yeah. Well, if you get $1 from every bandwagon Lions fan, I reckon you'll be able to fund the bike.
I love that. I live in Western Sydney. Go the Panthers.
Yeah, I know.
Well, hold on.
They're
playing Melbourne.
I'm from Brisbane, right?
They're playing Melbourne. I cannot go for a Melbourne team against a Western Sydney team.
It's like you're like.
Like, I'm cheering for the Spratt family.
Yeah,
it's like Penrith.
You're watching Space Jam and you're going for the Looney Tunes because the alternative is aliens from outer space. You know,
sure.
That's what. There's no allegiance there. There's no affinity. If I bought you a Penrith jersey, you would spit on it.
I wouldn't spit on it. I wouldn't wear it.
Not in front of me. I wouldn't wear it.
Okay, all right, fine.
Okay, look, all good. Fantastic opportunity from BikeBug. It really is a wonderful looking machine.
While we're talking BikeBug,
yes,
we got a prize draw.
Love this. Okay.
So at the Amy Gillett Grand Fondo, and I am taking the Lions. I'm taking my Lions scarf.
Hang on, just what was the smell so I can tell my wife who it belongs to?
Pub?
Yeah, okay, that sounds appropriate. She loves the Lions, so that's good.
Okay.
Probably had a jug of beer spilled on it on
Was
Saturday.
it Old Spice?
Old Spicy Lion?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sorry. It's
pair.
Old Spice and Lynx.
And Lynx.
Brute.
How's that for a combination?
Yes,
Unleash the animal within.
Lynx Africa.
At the Amy Gillett Grand Fondo in Lorne.
Yeah.
We gave people the opportunity to go into a prize draw to win a BikeBug light voucher pack,
Great.
a number of things. They just had to fill in a survey. We will get those results to you when we collate them all, because some really interesting feedback on road safety and how people are feeling out on the roads.
Great.
But we've got some winners. So it all goes into a wonderful little and spits out the winners.
I think I just said great like 7 times.
You did.
But I meant every one of them. This is exciting.
We've got Robert Walker. He won a Magine Radar tail light.
Okay.
A $200 voucher went to Jeremy Sherwell. A $100 BikeBug voucher went to Andrew Martin. And we have 4 $50 BikeBug vouchers. Nick Squalari, Chris Kennedy, Patrick Gordon and Daniel Falcone.
That's fantastic.
So I entered.
You did.
Didn't win. What?
No, you were taken off the list.
Great. What? Anyway.
Conflict, darling.
Yeah, conflict of interest and special bandwagons edition of the Wheelhouse. Can I just quickly...
Hank's name got taken out too, yeah.
Nothing for Vogels. Can we just have a quick shot of the bunker, Merckxy, just as far as bandwagons go? Because I've just noticed a little stage change in the bunker. Just really quickly.
Oh, in here?
Yeah, there we go. So just move your hand down. You're being a bit cheeky. So that used to be Peter Sagan, but no, look, it's been replaced by Pog.
Oh, no, it's Lotte.
It's Lotte. Oh, she's blurry.
It's
there
Lotte,
she is.
sorry.
Oh, no, there she is.
I changed it.
You've changed it. So now, okay, so
it
we've gone
was
from...
Pog. It's quite technical, and then I change it when we're talking about Lotte.
Oh, very good. It looks good. And what's that on your head?
That's a kangaroo up there.
On your head.
Oh, that's
It's
the
a kiwi.
That's a
It's a bin chicken.
bin chicken hat.
That's a bin chicken.
Yes.
Bear Liang.
Yeah. Shout out to
good on
you,
you,
Bear.
I love
Yeah.
that. Okay, well,
And
no,
the
my
Queensland bin
apologies.
chicken.
Apparently, Kate and I are the only bandwagoners. That's okay. I thought you were in with us, but that's all right.
no,
Well done to all the
yes.
winners.
And thank
That's
you to BikeBug for supporting us on that, and to everybody who entered.
BikeBug.com. Get involved. Have a whip round and see if you can get that Colnago and share it.
Oh.
It'd be a custody thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
You get it this
well,
weekend,
I've
yeah.
got 6 names who have, $50 to $200 vouchers to contribute towards it.
Every little bit counts. It is the Wheelhouse podcast. Now, you guys will hear, all those winners will hear from
Oh, yes,
our,
I'll email you.
our competition
sorry.
department
Yes.
will get in touch.
The team will be in touch.
One of the friendly staff will be in touch.
Yes.
Her name might be Catherine, but
Her
just a
email
coincidence.
might have Catherine Bates written on it, but we'll see how we go.
Oh, I always get confused when you two are working at the same time. Thank you so much for coming along for episode 112. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you, Kate, for your wonderful thoughts. And I haven't had a chance also to give you a massive props for what you're doing with the AGF. I know how hard you are working, and the messaging that you are raising and spreading nationwide is so important. And
Thank
you're just
you,
doing
John.
beautifully.
Well, everyone deserves to get home safely.
They sure do.
And if we can save one life, one major injury, one heartbroken individual or family, then we're doing our job.
Really beautifully said.
So,
Yeah, absolutely love it. The Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast. We're all about doing it, enjoying it, doing it safely. Like, share, subscribe, tell everyone you know, and we'll be back.
yeah, and don't forget it's Merckxy's birthday on Sunday, so, bomb him on social media
Slide into his DM.
with the happy birthday gifts.
Yeah, send him a gift. I'd love to know what.
Well, I meant a GIF, but gifts
gift
as well.
and a gift.
They're all welcome.
Yeah, I've had a few interesting DMs lately.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Great.
Maybe hit not
Are
recording
these the ones
anymore
we
before
talk about during
that.
show or not during show?
Well, no, you can send pictures in Instagram now. It's weird. Anyway.
All right, wonderful.
On
If
that
you want to
note-
know more about that, hit us up. I'm sure Merckxy will be more than happy to inform you of what he's talking about and send you a picture. So
Who's
like,
looking at
share.
you, Ben O'Connor?
Oh,
Just
please
get involved.
please
That's
hit
all.
the off button. Off.
Bye.
Bye.